everyone. I just wanted to update you on what's been going on lately. I know that I said I would get more videos done. I was away for a while on a short vacation. I've also been preparing myself for the fall season when piano lessons kind of fully get back in swing. And I just wanted to update you on what's been going on with that. And that is that I have decided to reopen my studio and offer in-person lessons again, while still offering online lessons, because I know that there are people who are still not quite comfortable yet with resuming in-person lessons. So I wanted to make sure that I did all the right precautions for when people start coming back into my home, and I basically had to start my teaching schedule from scratch so that I could make sure that I left time slots between students to clean my studio area. So that means I had to basically put half an hour time slots between in-person students so that I could clean the piano, clean the bench, clean where I sit, clean the entryway where the students come in, and then if they sit on the couches or anything like that, to make sure to clean up that area as well. So I touched base with all the students that said that they wanted to wait until in-person lessons were available again. I also made sure to let the students that I have been teaching online know that in-person lessons will be available. I have made some changes in terms of procedures just to be on the safe side for my health and safety, for the students and their parents' health and safety, as well as for my parents' health and safety. Just because they are in the more vulnerable category in terms of COVID. So I am making it mandatory for students to wear either masks, some kind of face covering, or a face shield. I've opted for the face shield just because that way my students can still see my facial expressions, and it's a little easier to communicate with my students. I've also made it mandatory that they use hand sanitizer, either hand sanitizer that I've provided, or they can bring their own hand sanitizer. So I have a couple of bottles at the front entrance, and then I also have the hand spray bottle in case they sneeze or anything like that, or take off their masks when they're not supposed to. I just want to be extra careful. And I'm also asking students before they come in if I can take their temperature, just to make sure that they are still within a healthy range. I've also let parents know that if their child is feeling under the weather even just a little bit, it would be better to keep their child at home, and we can reschedule the lesson for a time when they are feeling better. I'm all for making up lessons rather than them coming and possibly putting myself and the rest of those that come to the studio at risk. I know it may be a little bit overboard, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. Things may change in the next few weeks as school is opening up again. I have let all my students know that should there be any cases that occur in any of the schools, that any of my students who are doing in-person lessons, if there are any of those cases, then I would probably shut down the in-person lessons and resume just doing online. I know that there have been younger students that the parents wanted to wait till it was in person because it was too hard for their kids to focus, to really pay attention online, and I get that. And it's funny now that I've touched base with some of those who have been waiting for in-person lessons, because now they've come to me and said, oh, are you still offering online lessons? Because we would like to opt for that instead. So I'm still waiting on a few students to find out whether they want to do in-person, if they want to do online, if they even want to continue to do lessons. I know it's been a big gap from March until now, so there may be students who are no longer interested in piano, and I get that. And I've had at least one student who the parents decided to go to another teacher during that time that I was closed from in-person lessons, and I'm completely okay with that. It's definitely been a lot more stressful, and it's been chaotic. I started doing in-person lessons as of last week, and it's been very interesting to see what the dynamic is like. I can't even imagine what it'd be like in a school when you have lots of kids in the classroom, because even just having a couple of kids, so if I have siblings, I allowed them to do lessons back to back. So I've had students who said, oh, my mask is uncomfortable, can I pull it down just so that it's under my nose? And I've had to say, no, you have to keep the mask on. I understand that it's uncomfortable, but it's for your health and safety that you have to keep the mask fully on. Just bear with it. And that's only for half an hour, for an hour that they're wearing it. So I can't even imagine what it would be like spending a whole school day with a mask on. And from the teacher side, having to manage all those students and making sure that they are properly wearing their masks and following health and safety protocols. Everything right now is just a completely new learning experience in terms of in-person lessons. My piano has never been cleaner because I am cleaning it basically after every in-person lesson. So lots of soap and water involved in cleaning the piano. Never use Lysol wipes on your piano. It can ruin the finish and even take the black off of your black keys. So just a quick reminder, if you are wanting to sanitize your piano, use soap and water. That's the best way to go. So it's been very interesting. I like wearing the face mask or the shield, just because it does make it easier to see the students, but I have noticed that it causes everything to fog up pretty easily. And also it sounds like I'm speaking into an amplifier. My voice sounds so loud in my ears. And when I ask my students, what do I sound like? To them, I sound like I'm talking through kind of a funnel, but I can be heard clearly enough. So that's been kind of what's been going on. It's been very interesting trying to schedule things. I think some parents are still waiting to see what school is like, and then they'll determine whether they want to do in-person lessons. I have students who are doing full-time at-home schooling, some that are doing half. So it's been very interesting. Everything's kind of up in the air in terms of how teaching is going to go. Royal Conservatory is still only offering examinations online, which is fine by me. I think it's going to be a while before in-person examinations are going to be a thing. There's a lot of logistics that go into organizing examinations for the Royal Conservatory, and it's much easier to kind of organize and coordinate online examinations than to try and figure out how they would what venues they would find for examination locations, how the cleaning protocol would be, how long would the exam period be, because you'd almost have to double how long the exam time frame is, just because you'd have to clean the exam room every time after a student has taken an exam. And then you have to think about the comfort of the examiners, having to wear masks and having to be the ones to clean up. So I think it's going to be a while before that becomes an in-person thing. But it is better in some ways that it's online, just because students can now basically take the exams when they want to. They don't have to wait for certain periods of the year to do it, which means they can probably progress a bit quicker than they would if they had to wait for certain exam sessions. So I am really encouraging my students to think about doing online lessons even just a few times, just to get to the hang of it for if they decide to take the examinations during this change in the Royal Conservatory. Overall, I think that in-person lessons are going to go well, and I've missed that interaction with my students, and I know that Cinnamon has missed seeing my students in person. She got super excited over the past week, just being able to see more people than just my parents and I who live here. It's going to be interesting, I think, for the next while, and I know that there's probably a pretty good chance that there'll be a second wave, and I want to make sure that I take all the precautions for that. It'll be interesting. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do for the Christmas recital, just because the place where I usually do the recital would be at my church, and they haven't opened up again. I might have to see if I can do some kind of a live online recital, maybe using Zoom. I do have a Zoom account, and I'd be able to host the recital that way. So we'll have to just see how things go. Maybe I do them in kind of sessions where I do them in smaller groups, or private recitals for each family. I don't know how that's going to work. So this is all just really kind of brand new. Just when I thought I was getting the hang of the online lessons, I now am incorporating in person and online, and it's just kind of thrown a whole kink in the flow of things. But the nice thing is now that my schedule is kind of back to the way it was. So it's after school lessons rather than kind of spread out throughout the day, because I would have students who would have their lesson online kind of mid-morning, early afternoon, and then after school hours. But now everything is basically after school hours, so I can kind of schedule my day a little bit better without having lessons kind of cutting up the day. So yeah, I just wanted to give you an update on what's been going on in terms of just my piano studio, and I am planning, I know that I keep saying I'm going to put out videos and I haven't, and I promise I will get around to doing them once things have kind of settled with scheduling. I have lots of stuff recorded, I just need to get around to editing it. So I promise I will get more videos out, and I'm just looking forward to continuing to share videos and seeing how things go with my piano studio and teaching online and in person. So with that being said, I'll see you later. Bye.